Today, I'm going to be talking about choosing your venue. Now, I think where a lot of people slip up is before they're even engaged, they have maybe just seen somewhere on Instagram or Pinterest, or I don't know, they've seen something somewhere when they've been, just having a look, for that one day when they get married, and they've got something in their head and they've seen a venue and they're like, I'm getting married there. It's nice to be able to look at venues and go, oh, I like that place looks like that, or that place looks like that. But what a venue looks like isn't the be all and end all of it. If you have the money and you're not too fussed about the types of suppliers you use and the venue is everything, then A, these videos probably aren't really made for you anyway, but B, just go for it. Just go and do it at that fairy tale castle of your dreams that you've always pictured yourself getting married at. But if you have always pictured having a DIY wedding, you just need to find a venue that allows you to do that. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how we chose our wedding venue. So we knew that we wanted lots of people. We wanted to share our day with as many people as possible. So once we sort of had a rough estimate of how many we were going to invite, it looked likely that we were going to have over 150 guests. Now that quickly cut out the majority of venues in Norfolk, and we wanted it to be a licensed venue for ceremonies. Tom's main thing was he did not want to get married in a church. So we had to find a venue that would take over 150 people, was licensed for ceremonies, let us do all of our DIY stuff, and was in Norfolk. So that narrowed down our options pretty quickly. I can't even remember if there were really any other venue options than Waxham Barn. We went and looked at the Fire Pit Camp, and I think they sort of say that they can take 120 people, but you can get in more chairs and tables if you want to. But it just meant that, we'd have to be really cramming everyone in or spreading people out over different rooms. And I think we would have had to have fewer people at the ceremony as well. And considering it was like 3 or 4 times the amount of money just to hire the venue, even though you did get more included in that price, it just was a kind of no-brainer. We went to see Waxham Barn sort of on a bit of a whim, like, oh, this is out in the middle of nowhere, but, it looks like nice enough. Let's just go check it out. And we sort of, walked around and was like, yeah, okay, we could picture this. It's huge. We're a bit worried even that we wouldn't fill it, because we'd seen other pictures of other weddings there and we were like, oh, it does look quite like empty. You'd have to have a lot of stuff in it to fill it and a lot of people to make it busy and to make it warm even. We're a bit worried about, was it going to be really drafty because it was by the sea and we were getting married in September, which is usually very nice, but it might chuck it down with rain all day. Now, the other thing I would say about choosing a venue is where it is. Now, your friends and family, who's going to be bothered to travel halfway across the country, or even in some people's cases halfway across the world, to be with you on your wedding day. And the kind of costs it's going to cost people to get there. How far people are travelling, how much that's going to cost them in train tickets and petrol. You need to think, where do all our friends and family live, and how easy is it going to be to get them there? Because if it's just a massive faff for your friends and your family to be with you on your wedding day, they're not going to fully enjoy it. But again, you don't have to take complete responsibility for your guests. They are your friends and family. They will make an effort to be there for you. Just don't make their lives hell. That's all I'm saying. Now, the other thing you've got to look at when you're choosing your venue is just how DIY it is. with Wax and Barn, it was about as DIY as you can get. We had lots of contact with Monica, who runs the venue, and there were a couple of caretakers that were sort of there to open up and help us with a couple of things. But it was mainly like, here's the venue, do with it what you will. But there are some DIY venues that are a little bit more like half and half, like the Fire Pit Camp. You know, there was a bit more support from them, but again, they cost like 4 or 5 times the amount. So if you've got people around you that are willing to do that, and you can take the week off before your wedding, then it's okay to have a venue where you have to do everything yourself. So when you're choosing your venue as well, make sure you have checked everything about the licenses. There's a few different types of licenses that you should look up, and it changes like all around the country as well. There's a really good website for Norfolk called Marry in Norfolk. It has a list of all the licensed venues, what kind of license they have, and that's also the site you use when you're booking your registrar. Now, obviously, you don't have to have a registrar. You might have like one of these like humanist ceremonies or something, but that means that you have to go to the registry office on a different day to actually get married. Look up humanist weddings, they sound great, they're very different, and you're not so tied down. We didn't have a humanist just because I wanted to actually get married on my wedding day. I wanted it to be official. I think that's like, for me, that's what it's all about. So some venues have like duo licenses where you can get married outside as well. If you've got it in your head that you really want to get married outside, well, I would just say, just scrap that, because it might rain. And if you would like to get married outside and you can picture it being lovely with everyone holding umbrellas, then great, go for it. I think you see a lot of lovely pictures on Pinterest of people getting married outside, and you know, it all being really nice and everyone sitting on hay bales, and there's a really pretty arch, and it's like, that's great. And if your venue can do that, then brilliant, but you must have a backup plan, and you mustn't be disappointed if that backup plan happens. So, you know, hope for the best, but be prepared for the worst. Picture your venue and where you want to get married in the most miserable weather you can think of, and think, will I still be happy?